It is a new year. We are officially in 2021. That is so weird to say, but let's hope this year treats all of us a lot better than last year. I'm really excited. This is gonna be the official first video of the year on the channel. I did do a little like back to the grind video. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll be posting that up here. If you haven't checked it out, it's just how I took a little break from YouTube and work, but now I'm back. This is the first video. We're gonna be talking about tech. We got 3 new Apple products today that I want to do more of an in-depth review since I have been able to use it for a couple months now. First up, we're going to be talking about the Apple Watch Series 6. Next up, I do want to talk about, which was like the most recent release, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Really excited to be talking about this one. And then lastly, which isn't actually my product, so I personally haven't been able to use it, but they're my parents, the new 2020 iPad Airs that came out a little while ago. They have awesome colors, so I'm hoping that I can convince them to kind of do a little review themselves about the iPad Airs, given that they're coming from a huge upgrade. I think the iPad that they had prior was maybe like the 2nd generation, give or take. It's a pretty old one, so I'm hoping I can convince them to come on the channel and kind of give you guys an honest review of the iPad Airs. That should be interesting. But while I grease them up and try to convince them, let's talk about the Apple Watch Series 6 first. Now, if you didn't see or catch my unboxing of the Apple Watch Series 6, I'll be posting that link up here for you to watch before this video. Now, I did have a few, I was a little bit nervous when I got the Apple Watch because of the new band that came out with, which is the Solo Loop, whether you wanted it in more of a sports loop or the braided. I opted to go for the braided. I talk more about that in that video, so I'm not gonna go into depth into it in this video, but rather wanted to talk about the watch, the brain itself. Coming from the first series Apple Watch, it's a huge upgrade. Now, do I think that you need to upgrade to the Series 6 if you still have the most previous versions? No. Now, unless if your Apple Watch is already lagging, I was honestly unimpressed or just really underwhelmed of the features and the overall performance of the Apple Watch Series 6 compared to the Series 1. The only major difference that I could see between the two was just there was no lag. Now, I have been holding off because I wanted something super awesome, something super new, but I didn't get that in the Series 6. And after like 6 series, you would have thought that maybe some things have like drastically changed, whether that be the design or just like the overall function. It wasn't really there, at least just not what my expectations or thought would have been after 6 versions of a certain product. Sure, you know, checking your blood oxygen level thingies is cool. Do I use it? Absolutely not. Again, it just does what it does, but it does it well. I love checking my messages. I think if I don't check my notifications right away, my Apple Watch, like not even a minute, will give me that alert, which is a good and bad thing, because sometimes it's annoying and I'm purposely ignoring that message, but then my wrist buzz. It sends alerts on time. I love being able to reply to text messages like for okay, yes, no, quick responses just right there at my wrist, checking the time, the temperature, whether I go out for any workouts, stuff like that. I always have the Apple Watch. Now, one thing that I did even from the Series 1 is that I actually don't use the Apple Watch on weekends or when I'm on vacation. It's just like one less piece of technology that allows me to truly disconnect. So this past whole week and a half that I haven't been doing pretty much any real work except going on walks, I will put this on. But other than that, I don't use it all the time. I use this more as a tool, my Monday through Friday, to keep me concentrated, to keep me on task. If someone from work sends me a message, I also see it on my wrist. If I am away from my computer and phone, if I'm shooting, I can check those messages right away. So as far as the not having the lag from the Series 1, after so many years, it's just been so slow. I really, really love it. Otherwise, I feel that if you have a pretty new Apple Watch, I don't really see a need for you to upgrade. All right, so next up is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This is obviously one of the newest Apple releases as far as pretty big flagship devices, aside from the laptops and M1 chips. But as far as having a newer iPhone, I will say I think it comes back to the same thing. My enthusiasm or excitement for the new phone quickly dies down. I'm not a cell phone person. I think they're cool, but at the end of the day, all I needed to do is check my social media, being able to text, and the rare phone calls here and there. If it can do all that, perfect. Now, I do love being able to have a camera that I can rely on to put clips that I need to or record for professional work, whether that be for YouTube or even for my job. I feel that I could pull that off just using my iPhone 12 Pro Max, as the cameras are a huge upgrade, especially as a user who's using the iPhone 8 Plus. So again, that was another pretty big jump. If you see a kind of like a rhythm or pattern here, I don't tend to upgrade my electronics every single year. A, that is super expensive and you're never going to catch up. And B, technology is made to, it lasts. It does have certain life expectancies, I totally get that, but I don't think that you need to like have the latest and greatest, because oh my gosh, you're just gonna spend so much money because it's so hard to catch up. Every so often, boom, 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 new electronics are coming out. So for me, I'm coming from really older Apple products. They're great. They do last for years, which is why I'm a huge Apple fan. I do feel that they last. And again, last year was a pretty expensive because this was kind of a necessity upgrade, because again, the lag was just, I didn't use my Apple Watch anymore because of how slow it was. But same as the iPhone 8 Plus, that was kind of more of a need for an upgrade. I could have waited out a little bit longer. I'm usually never to have like the new phone as soon as it comes out, so that was fun. That was more of a splurge. Fun. Again, overall, the phone performs very, very well. I think the only downside or con, actually, I rather quickly discovered that I'm not the biggest fan of the Face ID. Now, not just because of the whole face masks, and there were rumors here and there that the new update would be able to unlock with just your eyes having a mask on. That thing wasn't released just yet. As someone who uses their phone at night, which I know you're not supposed to, but I do use it before bed, I'm checking social media. If I want to go into certain applications that use a password, such as I want to check my banking account, making sure a certain payment went through, I have to have a well-lit area, and I'm in bed under the covers, and I don't feel like turning on the light. I don't feel like having like a bright light shining on my face. So not being able to access that, or that little lag of like, okay, now you can enter your passcode instead of using your Face ID, I don't like it. I'm not a big fan. After briefly using the iPad Airs, the new ones from my parents, and having the sleep wake button be the Touch ID, man, I think from day one, I really wished that we could have that Touch ID on here. This button on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, at least, because again, this is the only new phone that I have, this button is huge. It's a lot oversized, it's a lot bigger, both the volume up and down as well, compared to previous iPhones. So I think they could have put that technology on here just the same way that they did it on the iPad Airs. So I'm thinking most likely that maybe the next rendition of the iPhones, maybe the 13, will have that Touch ID. Ideally, like would be freaking awesome is having both. Whether the first thing that you see that the phone recognizes as soon as you pick up is your face, then it unlocks, great. But if you're in bed or if you're outside wearing a mask, all that stuff, or bundled up, if you're still in the winter season, I think just being able to have that Touch ID, just a quick bloop, would be really spectacular. So having that option to have both would be sweet. But if I had to choose, I think I would honestly pick the Touch ID versus the Face ID. Now, I think I do also have to say, this is kind of early on as far as like cases. If I'm gonna briefly just touch on the accessories that you can get for the iPhone 12 lineup, I know one of the biggest thing is the Mag Connect. I do have this Apple branded case that I bought on day one, and then I finally was able to get the wallet, the Mag Connect wallet. So it's a cool feature. I also have the Belkin car mount, so it does work well, and so far with this specific case, it really does grasp on it well. You can do it in landscape or portrait mode, whatever you want. It's really nice. I would have wished that the Belkin car mount had a connection for you to charge it instead of having to connect it to your phone. That way, as you could literally just plop it on, it charges it. Even if I see a cable dangling, that's fine. But knowing that as soon as you put it on the car mount, it's gonna be charged, and then you just take it out without having to plug and unplug would have been a cool thing. I think they're rolling out with third parties, like third-party accessories are coming out with that, so that's really cool to note. But so I would hold off on getting the Belkin car mount. I do wish that I knew that sooner, or would have thought about it sooner. It was kind of an impulse buy. So that kind of sucks not being able to have that available, being able to connect just directly to the charge mount and not having to worry about connecting, disconnecting every time I'm in and out of the car. Now I know Nomad, I know they were awesome enough to send me their first lineup for the 12 Pro Max cases. So I do have, I believe, 3 of them. I've been swapping them in and out. It's been awesome. But again, ever since I got the Apple Wallet, I really wanted to test this out. The only case that I could do that on would be the Apple branded case. Because of the material, I think on the Nomad cases is a little bit too thick. It technically charges, and it does, you can hear it wants to connect, but it's not strong enough. It might be a little bit too thick is my guess. They are coming out with Mag Connect compatible cases, so that's super cool to look forward to in the future, because I love the Nomad cases. They have such a soft leather material in the back. It's really, really great, high quality, and it's, I think if I'm not mistaken, cheaper than the Apple branded cases. I mean, yes, this looks awesome. I love the blue on the Pacific Blue. It matches awesome, but I love being able to match with my Apple Watch. I have a lot of straps. Pretty much all the straps that I use for my Apple Watch are Nomad. They're great, high quality. So being able to match from here to there would be awesome. And then being able to use this wallet with those cases, I think would be an awesome addition as well. So that's going to be something to look forward to as far as Nomad. They do have it on their website that they are coming out with those cases. So if you do buy a case from them now, I believe you can do, you'll be able to get a 50% off for the newer version cases. Don't quote me on that, but I'll be posting their link down below for you to check out. In case you're eager to get a case from Nomad now, you can upgrade later for a cheaper price that will work with the whole Mag Connect or ecosystem thing. Okay, so now I do want to talk about the iPad Airs. Now again, these aren't mine, so I personally haven't been able to use them or don't use it day to day. I'm still rocking the, what is this, the 2019 or 2018 iPad Pro, the 11-inch. I absolutely love this. The brief moments that I use their iPad Airs, it's equal. It's very, very, the margin between the Pros and the Airs at this point is so small that I would opt, if I didn't have an iPad, I would go for the Air, hands down. Not only do they have cool colors, they also do have the Touch ID, so that's really cool. And again, you can pretty much do everything you can do on the Pro, you can do on the iPad Air, and it's cheaper. So I think it's a win-win, hands down, without even me using the iPad Air every single day. That's the one I recommend for a lot of people, if not everyone. But I am going to try to see if I can insert, and if I was successful at convincing my parents to do a quick little review of their iPad Airs, I'll put that here. Alright, well, I was quite unsuccessful in trying to get my parents to do their own review of the iPad Airs. However, I do have some fascinating and helpful quotes from them. So let me pull that up here just so I can make sure I don't miss anything. So I first asked my dad, this is what he had to say. The first question that I asked both of them, my dad being first, I said, how do you like the new 2020 iPad Air? He says, and I quote, I like it. And end of quote. From there, trying to grasp some more information out of him, I said, compared to your old one, what is it that you liked about it? Again, his direct quote is, it's lighter, the screen looks better, He's also a fan of the Touch ID, a lot better than having to input the passcode. And that's the end of my dad's review of his iPad Air. He did get the blue colored one, so that was really cool. I'm glad that I convinced him to get with the blue color. He was wanting to get, I think, this color one, but I'm like, the cool thing about the new iPad Airs is the cool colors. So thankfully it's not like a huge in-your-face kind of blue, which I did mention that in the unboxing, which again, I'll post that up here. So it's subtle. He likes it a lot. He did skimp out as far as the case. He loves this case, the Magic Keyboard, but it is a little too expensive, so he wasn't willing to spend that money right now or when he bought the iPad, but he really is wanting to get something else, as the case that he has right now is pretty cheap and quite flimsy. Now, the quote from my mom, she has the same exact, as far as like specs, model as my dad's. The only difference is that she got the green color. And this is hers, quote. She says, "I like it." And then when asking her compared to the old one, what is it that she liked about it, she continued to say, "It's light." And then I cut her off and said, "You can't repeat the same thing that Dad said. You have to come up with your own stuff." And then there was a long, awkward silence. And she said, "Well, I don't know what else you want me to say." No, in all, she does use like Netflix a lot. She uses YouTube and she does her like exercise videos. So she really does enjoy the screen. She says it seems and it looks a lot bigger than the old one, as the old iPad Air that they were coming from had pretty large bezels. She is also a fan of the Touch ID, even though she doesn't really know how to work it well. She accidentally presses the button in versus just laying her fingerprint on top of it to unlock it. So she ends up shutting it down. So it's a little bit of a learning curve for her, but nevertheless, they really do enjoy it. I know my dad, well, both of them use it on the daily. It's a nice upgrade from their old ones. Again, it is a lot lighter than the older iPad generations. So that's something awesome when you can, if you are adding it to a bag with a bunch of other tech, it's nice to know that your iPad is on the lighter side. She also got a case that's not like name brand or anything like that. She doesn't seem to have a huge issue with the case as much as my dad, because she uses it more of as a viewing like monitor versus like constantly typing or versus like constantly touching the screen, such as my dad. He uses it to check emails, to respond back and forth. So touching the screen on a flimsy case is a huge downside. So I would say if you are more of like, you're actively using your iPad, whether that be for touching it or typing, don't skip out on a cheap case. Get something pretty sturdy, maybe even something with a keyboard. You don't necessarily have to get the Magic Keyboard. I know it's really on the high end as far as for cases, but maybe getting a third-party accessory case with a keyboard might be awesome. If you're more like my mom, which uses it more for entertainment and media viewing, maybe reading some stuff as well, but you're just lightly pushing on it. Again, I think there you have some leeway as far as the case goes, and you're not having to, you don't have to spend that much money on a case for it. So that was the new Apple product reviews. We did review 3, the Apple Watch Series 6, which actually did take off just a little while ago, the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the 2020 iPad Airs. They're really cool. I'm really excited for all the new products that Apple has been rolling out with. I've been this close on like pulling the plug with getting a new M1 Mac. Whether that be the MacBook Pro, it's expensive, but it seems awesome. My laptop right now still works, so I don't know. I think I'm holding off for now. HomePods seem pretty cool. That's another new thing. And then obviously one of the newest releases has been the AirPods Max, which I am holding out for the 2nd generation. There are a lot of things with this 1st generation that I'm not a fan of, and I want them to work out the kinks before. And it's a $500, $600 price tag that I'm not willing to spend on a 1st gen while they work on those kinks. So I'd rather just hold off. They seem cool, they look nice, but again, there's some things that need some improvement. So I'm excited for Apple. Let's see what 2021 has come to offer as far as new Apple products. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it. Comment down below if you have any of the new Apple products, see how you like it, or if my reviews have been any helpful, or if you have further questions about any of the products we spoke about today. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.